Well, I go through a lot of potatoes. They end up to be pretty much a part of every meal. You know, they're good because they're very versatile and they're easy to grow. And they keep pretty well if you got the right temperature. Well, last year I had potatoes planted here. Now this year I've got the onions here. But then I planted the potatoes over here, and I've got actually double as what I had last year. I had 4 rows last year. This year I've got 8. And for my own peace of mind, you know, last year I got screwed up trying to remember which was the Viking and which was the Norland. Well, this year the first 4 rows to the east are the Viking. Because, okay, the way I kind of think it worked, the Vikings were ready. I could start, you know, they bloomed like a month earlier than the Norlands, and I could start eating potatoes on them much earlier. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's the ones you eat on all summer. And then these Norland, which are a darker red and got to be very big and are very productive and kept better than the Vikings. Those will be my overwinter potatoes. That's the plan anyway. But like I say, the first 3 rows here are the onions. The whites, the yellows, and those kind of a purplish reddish things. But I do also have these little multiplier onions that I bought off eBay that came out of Thailand. And they're all poking through already, you know, they just come back. Then they'll grow up when their tops die down, you dig them up, split them up, put them back in the ground, you know. So you got onions right away all the time. And that rhubarb is really coming up. Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to see, but there's little wrinkled up leaves poking through all over down there. You know, it's kind of a purplish color. But yeah, that's going to be, I'm going to have plenty of rhubarb. I also did get the carrots planted, you know, and that's one of these things, you know, you got to get them in early. Because carrots can be hard to catch. They take a long time to germinate. They're not planted very deep. So by the time you realize your carrots aren't coming up, it's too late, you know. So you really got to get at them early and hope you catch them just right. And those are the one thing I do tend to haul water to, just to make sure and get them going. You know, once you're started, you're all right. But so I got about half the garden done. But there is some other ground I'm going to break up for the viney stuff because that takes up so much room. But that's got to get done pretty quick too. But at least I got the potatoes in, and I got them in by Good Friday. It was like Good Friday that I was planting them. But, you know, that's the old wives' tale, that they're supposed to be in then to do with the moon and whatnot. But so I'll have potatoes. You know, like I say, potatoes easy to grow. If you can't grow potatoes, you got to give up. You know, a potato will throw them in a dark corner in a cellar and they'll grow. Potatoes want to grow. But this should be good. This is good ground for potatoes. But like I say, I'll have twice as many as last year. So I've got to get that root cellar finished because I was fighting to try to keep. Well, I gave some of them away last year because I know it can be a battle for me to keep them without them getting froze. Or if you keep them in there too warm, well, then they'll start sprouting. So you really got to get a pretty well controlled temperature, which means a root cellar. But when I think it was like a week ago, there was a foot of snow here. I made good progress.